Right, welcome to the HICCS-EVOLVE distance learning and virtual events intro. Now, HICCS-EVOLVE firstly is all about new age learning and bringing really a dynamic kind of learning style to the virtual environment. We've been working hard to redesign how we educate and how we engage with people in the learning spectrum, especially focusing on how we can make distance learning a more useful tool for businesses. I'm Niklas Christides. I'm the managing director HICCS Global, and my background is heavily also in training and coaching. So I used to deliver. I'm used to delivering training in various settings. I've done it in industries from aviation to engineering to academic, retail, construction, so on. So there's plenty of background in terms of how to do it. I've seen and analyzed very heavily what is effective training and how should it be delivered. And I don't necessarily agree with very much with the ways that we tend to train people in even in today's businesses. So we're hoping to bring something new to the market, and I've worked really hard to find a speaker pool that I think represents the way that we want to engage businesses in their learning processes. And as with everything we do, we cover the whole operational remit, and that's important. So you can trust, as always, on the fact that we will look at your needs holistically, and that's one of the key parts. And also, when we develop our training programs, we try to think about ways that will help the organizations and people who attend these training courses in holistically improving the way they conduct their business and improve their business environment. So why evolve then? What's the thing? What's the trick with evolve? Why should I consider that being different to anything anybody else does? Well, I always say it's kind of what approach we come from, and providing optimal learning is actually not that easy. A lot of people promise this. Most people fail. It's actually something that is difficult because we don't always understand each other. And I think what I mean is that the person or organization ordering the service, which is a training or education of any sort, event, whatever. If they do not have all the information about who they deliver it to, and or if they cannot adapt to the potential requirements, then it is very hard to deliver a, so to say, optimal training, because there is a gap, and it's that gap that's also one of the major causes for training becoming also a little bit of a negative industry. There is not much trust in training, I can say. And I think that's why traditional training models have now been heavily reduced. Businesses don't invest in them as much because they do not deliver the promise that the training providers actually give companies. And this is something that we are out to change. We want to see a different type. We want to see training being something that organizations can value once more, just like it's supposed to be. But this requires a different attitude and mental growth, and that's what we've been working on, selecting a speaker pool, an educator pool that can actually represent that style. So let me go through then, what we mean when we say we focus on engagement, because engagement is everything. If first of all the trainers or the educators don't engage, how are they ever going to train well? Well, so that's the standard, number one. So you got to have people motivated to do what they do. And if they're not good at what they're doing, then they shouldn't be doing it. So, we need to come from the right perspective. People need to be calm and concise with the delivery. They need to enjoy it because, that's them. That's what they're about. Secondly, if you cannot get the audience to engage, you're also failing because the audience has purchased something interesting. So, every trainer, educator, coach, whoever in this kind of role needs to also look themselves in the mirror. If you're not interesting, then, something's wrong. You have to find a way to engage the audience. Otherwise, you may also be in the wrong place and time. So, but anyway, that's kind of like, again, the philosophy that we look to correct and find people who will get people to engage in the thing, in whatever they're delivering. But it comes from essentially efficiency, so you got to understand the needs of the audience, diversity, different backgrounds. If we're all just the same and come from the same perspective, then there's not much to learn, right? Because we need to bring the world to the feet of the people. It's not enough to just be here talking from one perspective. Like I can say, I talk from like Finland and England. That's not enough. All right. That's all right. That's better because at least I got two perspectives. But it's by far not enough. We need to bring many more diverse aspects to it because we are going towards more internationalization. We're becoming dynamic also on that scale, and when it comes to learning, if we don't bring this multicultural and these kind of aspects in, again, organizations gonna fall behind. So it's important to bring that diversity aspect. It's structure and quality. You need to protect the delivery of what you're doing. So it's the style and the quality of that makes a big difference to the end user. And for us, that's paramount. If we can't deliver that, then it's failing again. Authenticity. We don't educate in things we don't know about. That's one of my golden rules, is that, what's the point? Why should I educate somebody about something I don't know? Now, this means that we still educate from our perspectives. Somebody may say, you don't know about this, but that's a question that, of understanding. People have different kind of approaches. Like if somebody tells me, oh, you shouldn't educate lean in that way. Well, I can educate lean in the way that I feel appropriate. It may just not necessarily look the way somebody else looks at lean. So, we come from what we believe is the best perspective for whatever subject that we're covering. And I think that's about being authentic. That's about sharing that knowledge pool. And I always say that from everything, there is something to learn. So if you don't really take in, because you've got blockers of your own, thinking that I've read a book and that's the only way something is, then you're also never going to learn, really. You've got to be broad and open-minded to be able to take in all the good information that the world has to offer. And those perspectives may be many, not few. So that's one thing with authenticity. Cost efficiency, obviously, with everything we do, it needs to be affordable. I'm very strict with this. And I also make sure that people who I work with or who we work with actually understand that affordability is about future. If you do not know how to cost things, if you just cost things based on market value or something else, you're not future fit. You're not, definitely not. You need to be able to understand what the value of what you do is, how is it in a long-term perspective, and how and does the counterpart feel the value of what you're doing? So we got to get some simple things straight, and cost efficiency in this and affordability is crucial. So we do work on that aspect, and we will be adjusting it as we go to ensure that we find a balance that makes us, not being questioned for what we charge, because I don't feel that can't ever be a very good position. If that's where people end up. And then, to be honest, I see far too many people in the coaching industry and speakers and everything who they have a client one time only because their charging model is totally flawed. So yeah, they'll have thousands of people, but they only have them once. And for me, that it represents nothing else than total failure, because you actually have just delivered disappointment. And I couldn't live with myself doing something like that. So, wake up call for people who do stuff like this. Get your prices right, because you need to. Anyway, so quality. You got to protect quality, whatever it takes. But it comes from both the material delivery, again, goes back to the styles, but then goes back into the continuous development. So we do a lot now virtually because it allows us to do more recordings. And when we have those recordings and people purchase the service from us, they can access the recordings. We can monitor how people engage with those recordings, and we can remake them so that we can kind of upgrade. So it's kind of like going from version 1, 1.2 to 1.3 and so on. And this is much more efficient. So I always say, why should I deliver exactly the same speak 2 times? There's no value for anybody, so little engagement in terms of questions anyway, and questions can be sent to me through a different means. So why not put the effort back into making the videos better, and upgrading them so that the trainer or educator would actually do what is relevant. The only thing, so this is more for the training courses, but with the events, we will obviously be live because it needs to be, but they will be recorded as well. So that's another benefit. We got to have a winning mentality. We want to be the best at this. We want to be, as in everything we do, because we care. We want to see our clients grow. We want them to be long-term successful companies. And, people who work with us get that feel that, these guys, they want us to do something. They're not just here for their own benefit, or they're not just here for that one customer, who we then can chuck out the door and just go and search for the next one. No, we want long-term, relationships with the people we work with, or who we represent. That's what's called value. That's what's called integrity. And these are things that sit extremely central in our DNA. So, but with that also, we have to have a winning mentality, because that makes us the attractive solution, not short term, but long term. I'm talking about the evolution of learning a lot, and an interesting thing in that is something called wisdom learning. Is something I'm talking a lot about, and what the idea is that we should bring awareness heavily into the learning spectrum. So with every subject, whatever it is that we discuss, there shouldn't just be the learning aspect. There shouldn't just be theory. There shouldn't just be the practical aspect, but there should be an awareness aspect. And what is awareness? Well, awareness is when we actually understand the correlation of certain things, and we understand that X and Y have a combination. Together they are something, and this awareness journey is something, business needs to start to understand. If we keep looking at things black and white, if we keep doing things with our horse flaps on, we are not growing in awareness. And awareness is competitiveness, and awareness is sustainability. So that when you can bring these elements to your business, that's the future niche. That's where you are ahead of the game, because you actually understand holistically how things work. But Too many businesses are far, far away from this. And but our thinking is that if we can bring this into our training principles, that awareness is something that we deliver as part of the learning, we believe that we can truly impact some of the deeper thinking in the individuals who work in business environments. So you kind of bring it through the people into the structures of organizations. So wisdom learning is kind of like the bigger thing that we're aiming for. And it's like, yeah, it's about getting things to a stage where organic learning starts to take place. And with organic, we mean not forced, just interesting because you want to know, you know. And I don't believe that forcing is ever right. You know, why should we force things? We should enjoy things. So, you know, try to get it to that point. But it is about the person who delivers the information. You know, they should make it interesting. And if they know what they're doing, then things will work a lot better. So, you know, so that's another thing that's quite important in what we do. Right. So I'll show you, and this is one of the more important things. So our first big effort to actually bring our services out in this new way is our Future Fit virtual education events. And so it's a program, you know, and we have actually done something that most people in the event industry don't really understand, which is that one event, when you think about delivering one event, you focus on that. And when the event is over, you let go. You just kind of like, okay, it's done. Everybody's happy. Everybody gets their earnings, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Well, not very good, is it? The whole point is that there needs to be contingency. What's the next step? What can we do then? How can we grow from this? A lot of people just end up, particularly the clients, they end up like question marks, like, oh, right, I went to that event, but yeah, I've got loads of open questions and I really don't know what actually happened. And in the end, they will end up in a position, although they initially may feel that they were pretty happy about something, but they will end up saying, well, no, I don't think that was very good in the end, was it? Because I haven't been able to apply anything that it actually gave me. So that's the thing. We want to actually now come from a different perspective. We want to make a series of events to educate in a way where the speakers will change for the event, but the focus will stay. The focus is that there is a next event, and so on. And I'm trying to make sure that HICCS will grow into this mentality of continuous engagement into the things we do. And this is one way of doing it, because when we have more than one event, you're not just planning for one thing. You are planning for a continuation of things, which means that it's much more, this one as well, organic from our perspective in what we do. And that makes us stay a lot more focused and more interesting to our audience. So the new thing that we're bringing is that we have speaker panels, 90-minute delivery, 2 of them per event. The GDPR event will be run in a different way with speakers talking in slots, because it's a more kind of like a focused subject, so to say. But on all of the other ones, we have the speaker panels in the morning and the afternoon. And then we've got some 30-minute focus talks for each of the different speakers, so they have the opportunity to represent from different perspectives or share their knowledge in particular subjects within what has been covered in the actual speaker panels. You will get access to the video archive. So also this is something that we feel is a really good value-added element. So that if you cannot attend one of the events, something happens, you're sick or whatever, and you feel or don't feel like, oh, today I can't really, I can't do this. I don't feel like learning or whatever. Then you can actually access the video archive afterwards. So we will record all of the events and then release them. So you will have access to them for a couple of months to ensure that you can view them. The other benefit is that you can actually watch the material afterwards. So if there was something you were particularly interested in, or you want to apply it in practice, you can actually rerun the video and or that particular part that you really like, and see what was recommended, and then do it in this way. Or if you want to kind of say to your boss, look, this is what I want to do, and this is where I got my idea from, you can actually run that part of the video and show them. And like, look, this is what they're saying, this is what I'm going to do. So again, we're trying to help the focus. They're all going to run in English. So that's a decision that we've now made, is that because we want to serve the EU, like it's in our idea is that that's the region. Obviously, we're not restricting to the EU. Anybody globally can get in touch and join these virtual things. But we don't want to just be regional, but we want to kind of focus on the bigger picture and help also this cross-cultural integration happen a little bit more. And again, we bring an experienced speaker pool. So with the speakers that we have, we will stay with them and bring value from different perspectives using it. So what do you get in this package then? Well, these are, you get four full days. So it's 4 events as part of this. The first one is on GDPR, very much about how should a leader actually approach that, and how can we optimize GDPR in our organization. Really good, informative thing, and something that is lacking in almost every organization. So it's really good to update yourself on that subject. Safe lean, we're actually looking at bringing lean into management, and safe is one of the kind of ways that you look at the larger scale organizational structures with lean focus. But we're only using safe as kind of one of the approaches we come from. We are actually trying to explain it from the HICCS perspective and how we see the world. There's a communications event, where we will particularly be focusing on the communications, public speaking, media handling, these kind of things that are very, very hot topics these days. And for us, it's important that leaders would understand and use that tool set of for communications more effectively. There's a real skill box in there for leaders as well. So, it is a really good update to join on that one. And then we have the new boss, which is that, what is leadership today, but especially what is it in the future? The next generation leadership and leading is a big question, and it's a massive, massive problem, because we're just not very good at it, and we want to bring some approaches on how businesses can actually upgrade their style of leadership, the leadership skills box, competencies, so on. We will talk about all these things to try to bring some real light to what needs to be done if you want to be successful in the future. So the price is $459 for this whole package, and if you're interested, you can get in touch with me directly by phone, for instance, and we can then see and agree. We will also have the tickets available through our website, which is currently undergoing an upgrade, but should be live pretty soon. And all the links can be found in the attachments to this video. So thank you for me, and hopefully you found this useful, and you will get in touch with us about anything that has to do with your organizational development or learning, as well as the new future fit concept, which we hope to make a real success and help companies boost their own performance and internal learning. Thank you very much.